this is not just an exhibition about visual art. This is an exhibition about biking in Minnesota as well. So Project Bike originated in 2014. It originally came out of the 410 Project Community Art Space located in Mankato, Minnesota. And in 2013, 2014, I was really looking at myself as a creative leader in the southern portion of the state and tried to figure out what can I do that's really going to set southern Minnesota a little bit more apart when it comes to the art scene versus central or northern Minnesota. So I looked at my two strengths as an individual, and one was things in relationship to art and the other was things in relationship to biking. So I kind of had this crazy idea in 2014. I was like, well, why don't I learn how to tour? Why don't I just get on my bike and meet other artists and really figure out who can define themselves as an artist living here in Minnesota. So in 2014, I set out on my first Project Bike tour. I didn't think people really would respond to it. It's like this woman who doesn't really know what she's doing is kind of biking through the state, meeting new people, trying to convince them that it's important to share their stories and share artist stories. But I got back that first year and put together this short little film that was about 3 minutes long and had about 10 pieces of artwork collected from these artists. We opened the doors at the 410 Project here to have a reception and kind of a premiere of the project, and people showed up that first year. It's always been about progressing and expanding what Project Bike is doing and what and who we are. So when it came to the idea of Project Bike concluding, which we've done here in 2019, it was really trying to figure out how do we end the story of Project Bike? How do we take all of these efforts of the last 5 years and put it together in one, event or object or story? And we're really fortunate that we've been able to team with the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport. MSP Art approached Project Bike about a year ago, and they were really taken by the idea of what Project Bike is. Two of the things that the state greatly supports, which is arts and culture and cycling. We're collecting new artwork every summer from new artists from all over the state, and at the end of each tour we've been able to have these amazing exhibitions here in Mankato. For Project Bike, we have over 60 pieces of artwork from Minnesota artists, but we also have the bicycle that I rode for 5 years, and this is an object that a lot of people overlook, which sometimes I feel happens within art. Why can't a bicycle be a piece of art? It's something that's designed, it's something that's painted, and it's just more functional. So it's great to be able to have visual works that people understand are art, but then also have on display objects that you wouldn't necessarily think are forms of art, like a bicycle or a trailer or maps. So it's taking these things from their functional aspects and then putting them on display. The state has done an amazing job with making biking accessible. It's very easy here to be able to hop on a trail, hop on the road, and get safely and securely to 50 miles down. With Project Bike, it's been great to be able to work with Kyle When I first started Project Bike, I had a lot of struggles with what it meant to tour and everything that comes along with that physically and mentally. And Kyle's been a great resource to help balance the project for where my strengths are not, his are. So we just make a really good team.
Hi, my name's Kyle Zeisler. I handle touring logistics, navigation, and bike mechanics on Project Bike. Project Bike is unique to Minnesota because of the cycling infrastructure and the gorgeous scenery. One of my favorite aspects about biking is the pace at which you move through the landscape. You get to feel every single hill, see every single prairie, and it really makes you appreciate the landscape more.
Project Bike is unique to MSP because it's really about highlighting artists throughout the whole entire state versus just in the metro or in one specific area or from one specific organization. Yeah, I think Project Bike has, kind of been this catalyst for artists to think bigger. It was a risk. But I felt it was something that I wanted to do and kind of had to do. Project Bike is really about showcasing that a bigger impact can come from a small amount of people, especially in the state of Minnesota here, because we're so interconnected. And I think Project Bike has been a really good example and representation of what one person's motivation can truly do. This is the end. We spent 5 years putting in all of this work to have this, massive visual of what Project Bike is. Project Bike Retrospective at MSP is an amazing way to conclude. After these 5 years of biking and interviewing and filming all of these artists, this is a great opportunity to be able to kind of close that chapter of Project Bike. What I hope people take away from Project Bike is to never lose that motivation or that self-motivation to take chances. I hope that Project Bike motivates people to kind of lead their own path and to take those risks. Project Bike will be on display at the Thomson Reuters C Art Gallery, which is 300 feet of display area, the largest display area in the MSP International Airport. Project Bike Retrospective will be on display late June for the rest of 2020.